Hi, Bethany Wilson here with Ruff Beginnings Rehab, here to talk to you about the Ecollar. Now this is geared towards my clients. They used to have to watch an 18-minute video on this, and I feel so bad, but for about 2-3 years, yeah, that's how long it was. So I'm determined to cut it down, so if I'm speaking too fast, it's a video. You can always go back and re-look at something. But this is the Mini Educator. This is what the vast majority of our clients go home on, and it's by Ecollar Technologies. Now, there are definitely some differences between what we do for our clients than what you get standard through the company. So make sure you do your research, find out what you might want between a basic bungee collar versus a regular flat collar, things like that.
Okay, so everything's gonna come in your box, and there's a lot of additives we give our clients that I'll talk to you about that you can get from Ecollar Technologies. But first, I'm just gonna go over the simple stuff. This is your receiver, your e-collar. This is your transmitter or your remote, okay? This turns on, the e-collar itself turns on by a magnet. So you're gonna see a red dot here, rub it together, goes green. It will continue to flash green. Make sure it's flashing green when you put it on your dog, because sometimes you could do a quick swipe and it didn't actually turn all the way on even though you saw a quick green flash. To turn it off, if you need to, you just hold it again, turns red, stops flashing. But obviously when you just plug it in, it turns off as well. So that's pretty simple for the e-collar itself. Now the remote, all the fun stuff, what you're gonna do is the first thing you're gonna do, turn it on. You have on, off, and then you have light. It's the same button, and you're just gonna hold it down. It'll say on, which is what you just saw. If you want to turn it off, same thing. You actually hold down the button till you see off. Bingo. All right. So I'm going to turn it back on. Just show you the light real quick. If you do, of course this has to be on for you to see it. This is great for sport dogs, or when the time changes and you're having to walk your dogs in the dark. You can face this down towards the body and it really lights up nice. Okay, so anyway, if I do a quick tap, I'll try not to blind you. I'll do it to the side. It does a strobe. I hate the strobe, I'm not gonna lie. So if I do a quick tap again, I get the regular light, which is what I like to use. Illuminates the dog's body. Tap it again, goes back to normal, okay? So this other button on the back here, if you can see, that says M and C. That's what we send our clients home on, M and C, momentary and continuous. On other brands, it might, they might call it NIC or continuous. That just means that this is going to mean the momentary and this is going to mean the continuous. So what does that mean, right? Let's see here. Let me get up to an actual number. We'll go to number 1. Number 2. If I hit this, even if I hold it down, it only does that quick, I believe it's like 1/24th of a second, something like that. Very, very brief. We don't use it too much. We don't teach it. We just don't use it too much. But what we can do is we can just tap continuous, because even if we just do a quick tap on continuous, it has more behind it lengthwise, other than the 1/25th of a second, than the momentary, okay? But the reason we do have it on M and C, even though we don't use M, is because if I switch this, I'm just gonna tap it, it'll come up as M. It has a boost function. You can set boost to whatever you want. What comes standard is 5. So for instance, when you get really, really good with the e-collar and you hardly ever need it anymore, if you wanted to set like an emergency boost, I wouldn't do it on momentary. I'd do it on continuous. There's my C. You could, but we don't teach it. It's so important that the clients really are fluid with this and learn the dog and really get good at using the numbers, because there's a difference between a 10 and a 12 in certain situations. So it's really important for us that the owners continue to use M and C and don't use boost. But if you were, this is continuous. It'll go for up to 10 seconds before it does an automatic shut off. And then if I wanted to do boost, it's going to go to 15. See that? That's just how it comes from the factory, but you could set that to whatever you wanted. But that's why we don't use that. So I'm going to put it back on M&C. Just wanted to show you how it works. So make sure, if you're one of our clients, make sure one dog is flashing 1D and it says M&C, and this is flashing green. That is what you're looking for. All right, so let's talk about this 1D. That just means one dog system. You can actually add another dog to it and create a 2-dog system. But when it's flashing, that means this is fluid. All right, it's very, very fluid. If I hold it down, I'm going to lock it in. Some people might put it in their pocket, which we don't personally suggest locked in numbers. It's actually really important that you don't whenever your dog first goes home from a board and train. But that is one of the things you can do. If you have a 2-dog system, it's kind of nice. If you have a really sensitive dog and then a not so sensitive dog, you could lock in a number at 1D that's nice and low, just for correctional purposes, and then be fluid on the second dog. But again, that is after you really know your dog and know the e-collar training in and out. That's really a more advanced option. So just to be clear. And then we have T that can be set up for tone or vibration, okay? And we always try to test that on the dogs because a lot of times the vibration freaks them out. All right, so charger, really simple. Plugs up at night, right? Same with the e-collar itself. These are waterproof, okay? These are waterproof, but you have to make sure that you tuck that back in nicely so you can go to the ocean or go to the pond or lake or whatever the case is. You're gonna get this, which is gonna help you switch out your contact points in case you need longer contact points. We often give our clients a few different things. We have long fur contact points and comfort pads. So these are all metal. These are our long fur, and it really helps cut through some of that thick fur that we deal with, so you don't have so much problems getting a connection because it has to be on the skin. Or we use the comfort pads, which I really love. It dilutes the stem a little bit, so it kind of reduces it and it spreads it out. These are more rounded and it can be more comfortable for the dog. They also have titanium contact points because this and the regular ones, the tips are nickel, and they can cause some irritation on the dog. Now, when it comes to this itself, we get a bungee strap, but this is not standard. You have to ask for this if you were to order it through Ecollar Technologies. You can also get ones instead of, doing the traditional lock. They actually snap in. You can't do that for small dogs, but for big dogs, that's a great option. Makes things much quicker and faster. For little dogs, we have this bungee thing we've been using lately that we're really liking. You just slide that down over the dog and lock that in, and really comfortable small dog strap. And you get a lanyard with your box. All right, and then we also use these clips, which has a really nice quick release where the remote comes right out and you need it. You want to keep this in your right hand. That's what it's made for. So that way when you're walking, you can look up and see where you're at on the dial. You use these 2 fingers to rotate with. So if I'm working my dog at a 12 for low stuff and we see a squirrel, I can do you can practice your spins. Get really good at preparing for that. Middle finger, red button. That's going to be pretty much all you need for my clients. And then, of course, you can use your first finger for first button. And then you get really good at scrolling. Now, these do need to be plugged up every evening. You don't have to turn them off. You can just plug them in. They take about 3 hours to charge. Battery lasts anywhere between a year and 3 years, depending on how much you use it. You can always go through me for new batteries if you're a client, or through the company, which is ecollar.com, but it's Ecollar Technologies. Okay, so let's talk about sizing this on your dog. These contact points have to be touching your dog's neck, both of them, in order for them to feel any off-leash communication. Now, I don't want it directly on their throat. One, that's not comfortable. Two, it's probably like right on their voice box. Not a good idea. So we usually put it on the side, one side or the other. These have to be rotated every few hours because this is metal. This is nickel. They also
also come in titanium if you have like maybe a pitty, sensitive skin dogs. We tend to see a lot of pitties, or white fur dogs a lot of times have sensitive skin, and you can get titanium contact points that are hypoallergenic, so that might be something you want to just go ahead and get. But anyway, these we typically say rotate every 4 hours, you know, and you can kind of move them in different spots because you can get pressure sores. It has nothing to do with the stem. This has the same type of technology as a TENS unit, which is an actual muscle stimulator, if anybody's ever had any physical therapy done. So I can whisper with it, or I can shout. These go up to 100 levels. They don't go, this model doesn't go high enough to do anything to the fur or anything like that when it comes to the stimulation. It is the fact that metal is sitting on skin, so it has to be rotated, okay? Now don't get me wrong, there's sometimes that you might make a mistake or forget about it. Over Christmas last year, I remember we did that with Dusty. We didn't even need the e-collar, which was awesome because we were out on the farm, but it kind of just made me forget about it being with family, and he got a couple spots. It happens, and it usually happens to everybody at least once before they remember to start rotating it, so just keep that in mind. Also, these are biothane straps. They don't breathe, so if you go swimming or go to the ocean or anything like that, if they get damp and you leave them on your dog's fur, you know, they might get a rash. We've even had some dogs allergic to it, and we've had to do something different and get like some sort of cloth cover and be creative. So just keep that in mind when it comes to the fit of the collar. If you're working with us, we do an e-collar sandwich. So it goes prong collar, e-collar, flat collar, okay? So e-collar sandwich right in the middle, and I'm gonna have a photo of how we set the gear up here at the end of the video, specifically for our clients.